excitement on steroids. I mean, these guys in the modifieds, unbelievable show. Now, this is where the track conditions affected class more than any other. And I'll say it just right off the top, 21 modifieds rolled on for the green flag.
That's impressive.
Josh 9 finished.
Woo,
Yes, it's not.
It got so intense in here you dropped your mic.
It's not impressive, but the racing on those track conditions with the drivers that we had left everybody just, I mean, the RPMs on the heart went up. It's one of those races as an announcer that's what you hope for at the end. We had, listen to this. I mean, listen to the names that we had in this modified feature. Campos, Castle, Weinbarger, Brett James came out in the 13, Sam Potter, Kevin Roberts, Dustin Cady out of the track, Breakall, Vernon Foster, the former champ, he came out to Willamette, Kyle Yak, Brandon Potter in the 11 was there, Jeremy Shank, Dan Dybel's number 74 machine, which is fast, and then you had the Gentry gang from Lafayette, Sean and Brad Gentry. I mean, you had some really good cars top to bottom, and track conditions and Lady Luck would just said, hey, look, we're not going to be kind to you guys tonight. And here's a prime example. Kyle Yak in the 47 looked like he had the car to beat. And Kyle, you know how Kyle's a fantastic race car driver. Gets everything he can out of the race car. He's very knowledgeable in the setup. He knows how to drive that car with the throttle and with the brakes. And unfortunately, with what he had to work with behind him, the competition and the track conditions, it went against him in the late stages as he caught a rut in turns 1 and 2 and ripped the entire left rear wheel. And I don't know if the hub came with it, but the stud snapped, the wheel came off, and it just spun him around. That being said, he was right in front of the pack. I mean, this pack was tight, right in front of the pack. He's on the apron, spins, and everybody splits him. No contact. I mean, it could have been one of those deals where it just stacked up everybody and took out, all the guys.
Oh my God.
But these guys are so good at what they do. They split him, got by him. So once that Yak's night was ended, that kind of Campos inherited the lead. Okay.
Campos last week too. You're talking about a guy that had last year. He's strong no matter where he goes. And he's actually coming up to our track. This is word of mouth. He's actually going to come up and try to challenge some of the guys up there this week in the Budweiser IMC Modifieds up in Sunset. John Campos, so I'm going to kind of go back. I got an opportunity. I've had some really good opportunities in my racing career to work with some of these guys. Colin Weinbarger, Kenny Miller, John Campos, Bryson J. I've had a chance to be able to be in these guys' pits, see how they do stuff. And John told me last year, he says, you know what? He says, and again, all year long we've talked about how 2016 has been, a lightning type strike of a year. And we're asking him why? Because there's so much excitement going into 2016.
Right.
John Campos this year, 2 wins. We're going to talk about it again.
Well, here's
this man is on a mission to make 2016.
And he's done that
year.
He has done that to this point, and he has been. It's not just about being fast. Anybody can have a fast car.
But
John,
he's been consistent
in the seat, under the helmet. His mind has been. The guy is on point driving. So he inherits the lead. And I know a lot of people under caution. There was a caution. I went out there and people were like, "Oh, Campos has got it. Campos has got it." What happened next? It was just one of those deals where. Everybody's going, what is happening? Because Castle was the early leader. Okay, he started on the front row, got the lead, led for a while. The car kind of developed a push. He faded the high side, kind of faded back to mid pack. Kyle Yak breaks in the late stages. Campos inherits the lead. A driver I want to spend some time on because I think this guy has, especially after this last weekend, has definitely earned it. He's not a rookie driver, but he's a rookie in this division. Ron Berry in the 97 started 13th in the field, and I'll tell you, he gave.
Hold on. Started 13 in a packed field at Willamette Speedway.
Drives up to the front, and we're seeing a 3-4 car battle with Campos, Ron Berry, Craig Castle. We saw Brett James put his nose in there, Colin Weinbarger, Kyle Yak. These guys are shooting it out, and Barry is the guy on the top. Everybody else is kind of trying to protect that lower groove, kind of miss the ruts or drive straight through the ruts like we saw a couple of guys doing, and Barry is on the top slinging it. He's got the the right rear out. He's giving these guys everything he can handle, and even Campos said in his interview in Victory Lane, he's like, man, I've got to thinking, what do I got to do to beat this guy? I mean, every time I look over, he's next to me. Ron Barry did an absolutely phenomenal job of piloting that modified from deep in the field all the way up to the second spot, and I got to tell you, he's got my attention, and after that run, I could guarantee you the rest of that field's going, hey, that 97 car has got something.
If he started 13th, okay, so you started 21 cars, 9's finished, but starting 13th in a packed field like that with those names up in front of him and to come through the field the way he did,
yes, sir,
that is not only
on
talent,
those track conditions. I mean, he phenomenal. I got to tell you,
talent.
The guy has
drive and ability.
Well, and the thing about Ron, listen to John talk and the rest of the guys. Immediately, he has earned. He's not a rookie driver. We call him a rookie driver because he's his first year in a modified. But the guy's got talent. We've seen that in the 97, the Sportsman. We've seen him win races. We've seen him, compete for championships, win championships. He's a good driver. He has earned their respect. I'll tell you that right now.
He just earned my respect.
I'll tell you that right now. He has got the respect of those guys. Campos picks up the win. Barry was right there for a second. Craig Castle, who faded to mid-pack after leading for the a little bit in the early stages, fought his way back up to a third-place finish.
In that 25 car.
In the 25 car, and Weinbarger was right there on the backside of him, and Brett James, another guy who was just awesome in the 13, filled in for his brother. And
he's doing a lot this year. He's racing a sprint car.
No, that's Bryson. We're talking about his brother Brett.
Oh, Brett. I'm sorry.
Yeah. He was right there in the mix. I mean, it was one of those deals where you just didn't know how that one was gonna turn out for anybody. I mean, there was 8 guys there in the top that could have easily won it. I mean, look at the top 8: Campos, Barry, Castle, Weinbarger, James, Potter, Roberts, and Katie.
Dustin Katie rounds out top.
Those are your top 8 cars. And Tony Breakall, another guy who's a first year in a modified, finished 9th after running 3rd on lap number 2, hooks a rut in turn 1, spins into oncoming traffic, and I mean, this is the 3rd lap. Everybody gets by him. I'm thinking, look at the talent we've got in the IMSA Modifieds. Yeah, he's running 3rd. 18 cars split him, high side, low side, no contact. He whips it around, gets back to the field, goes back to 21st, drives his way back up to a top 10 finish against some heavy competition. It was an awesome race, and it was just the battle up front between Campos and Barry and Castle and Yak. I mean, was it left you with an excitement for the rest of the year for that field. Because
can you imagine the excitement that's going into next week, though?
As a fan's perspective, coming back to watch that class, you got to be thinking, "Holy crap! Are you kidding? Did that just happen?" I mean, to have one of those guys as your favorite driver, you've got to be excited, but at the same time, going, "Man, these guys are pretty fast."
So you go from Willamette Speedway has kind of a rough track. We had one of the best tracks up there. John
we talked
track and stuff too.
We talked during the week, and I was like, "How was your track?" First thing I said to you on the phone this week, "Hey, how was your track conditions?" It was wet in the Northwest, and you're saying, "Oh, it was smooth. It went dry, slick. Guys had a great track to work with," and I'm going, what?
Right.
I mean, are you serious? Because we didn't have any of that at Willamette,
It was so cool because even the dwarf cars and stuff, every time a caution came out, these guys were pushing the cushion up further. They would drive up there, try to pack it down. They were driving on the outside to try to make that cushion closer and closer to the wall. There were some times, when they go down the front straight, you could just barely see the tops of these cars. You can hear them. But these guys are pushing that cushion further and further up. I'm thinking, man, these guys are doing this, and then the street stock guys come out, and they're running 3 wide at the start.
That's awesome.
If you guys have ever been to Sunset Speedway, if you haven't, it's an amazing track up there, Banks, Oregon, just 21 miles west of downtown Portland on Highway 60. It's the fastest quarter-mile dirt track you'll come to. Great atmosphere, cool facility. If you like short track racing, this is one. If you like big track racing, Willamette Speedway, fast, intense, never a dull moment to play either track.
Right.
It's such a difference in track.
It's two different worlds.
Two different worlds. You got short track like a Bristol, and you got big track like a Daytona,
right?
But you don't have that lame, unorganized.
Follow the leader. Yeah, this is dirt track racing, baby. It's the real deal.
This is it.
And we got to see that. This is the time of year we get to see those fast tracks. There's some moisture in it.
Exactly.
And, and then the late models, the super late models rolled on. And after that modified race, I thought, man, these guys are going to have a hard time living up to that action with this crowd. I mean, what the modifieds did, I mean, they established themselves as, I mean, that could be a featured division every single week at any track here in the Northwest.
Right.
I mean, unbelievable racing. I mean, a ton of respect for those guys. As a guy who grew up watching, back then they were called super stocks, 65 Chevelles with sprint car wings, and Bugby and Don Wilson and Mark Howard, with the Corvettes, and Russ had his Corvette, and then you watch these guys transition into chassis.
Jack Marintate?
Oh yeah.
Remember that old car? It was like 56 or 57
I remember the old Dodge that he had. It was like 21 miles long.
It was a hoopty.
But to watch the modifieds come in when I was a kid, I thought, what are these cars? These things are ugly. They're slow. They're boring. It's a whole different ball game now from when we first started seeing the modifieds in the Northwest to where they're at now. It's absolutely incredible. I mean, and I am a fan of them. These guys are just hardcore racers, and they're going to have a hard time with that 36 car this year at any track because Campos is on point. But there are some boys in that field that are
ready.
They're
doing their homework. I'm telling you.
Well, the gloves are on now, but I think before the season's over, they're coming off, and you're going to see some hardcore action in those IMCA modified ranks. When the late models rolled on, I thought, man, how are they going to live up to it? What can these guys do to give this crowd the excitement those modifieds just gave these guys? I wouldn't want to follow that race,
right?
And then you look at what these guys did with the roll of the dice. Dash winner Colin Weinberger, he was fourth fast qualifier, comes out, wins the dash, finished ahead of Dan Dybel, who was third fast. Rob Mayo was second fast in qualifying. Listen to this, fast qualifier was at number 29 of Brian Kronk in the Club 29 chassis. We've seen him in a new car. This kid he's going to get it figured out. I mean, he battled for the championship last year. Yep. He's one of those guys that now he's not just one of the young guns who's moved up. He's a real deal. He's one of the guys.
He's starting to be a very contender. Somebody to look at.
He is a contender. I mean, it's not just starting to be that kid is their program out of the Metro Services stables up there in Portland. It's on. And those guys doing what they're doing with a new car they don't have a lot of experience with, twice in the dash, twice they've been fast qualifier. I mean, these guys they're doing a heck of a job, that 29 car.
Right.
Now, he was fast qualifier, and listen to this, he was the only guy in the 14-second bracket, 14.910. Okay? That's pretty quick. Pretty quick.
Wow.
Mayo wasn't far behind, 15.160. The other two dash cars, Dan Dybel, 15.516 to Colin Weinberger's 15.522. So, I mean, that's a tight field, But Kronk in that 29 would establish himself about the halfway point of that feature. I mean, he was right there in the mix, but he got up there and battled for the lead, which was complete insanity. It came back down. Okay, so opening race, you were there. We saw Joey Tanner and Dave Walter 67, and we saw the 37 of Rob Maya with Glacier behind the wheel.
Right.
And we saw Glacier do everything he can to catch the 67 of Tanner, that little crate motor, and it just wasn't enough. The track.
Speaking of Tanner, he's actually going to come out in his car in the 1111 this week.
Right. So back on the track with the roll of the dice at Trophy Dash, who lands on the pole? Joey Tanner. When I saw that, I went, like everybody else, and exactly what you just did, I went, oh no.
Oh yeah, no.
Tanner's on the pole with that 67. We remember how fast he was last time he did this. So the green flag came out, and Joey took off. Joey did what Joey does, put it up front, stretched it out, had a good lead, and then the cautions.
Came out.
Then the cautions started coming, and we started seeing some tore up sides and some racing was happening, a little door banging, and it's late models. You can do that with these big cars with fenders and doors, and you just get them on there and 2-3 wide, and these guys left nothing in the pit area. They brought it all to the track and said, let's get it on. And it was awesome because Tanner checks out, and the rest of the field's battling second, third, fourth, fifth. I mean, these guys are just slicing and dicing, doing what they're doing. Caution comes out, and that puts these guys in the back door of Joey. And Joey is thinking, all right, this is cool. I got it. You know, I mean, he had to be, because he was so fast. That's